friends, Mrs. Reed here, and I'm back to share another read aloud with you. Today we're going to be reading Erandi's Braids by Antonio Hernández Madrigal. But before we start, first make sure you're in your comfy spot. But I also want you to take a minute to notice at least 3 things from this story. So the next time we talk, we can maybe chat about some of these 3 things. First thing I'd like you to think about noticing is the main character is really excited about something. Who's the main character and what is she excited about? Second, I want you to take a minute to notice that there's a problem that comes up for our main character. What's her problem? And third, I want you to notice and think about, how does she solve that problem? What's the resolution of her problem? Sound like a plan? All right, get comfy. Let's read. So this again is Erandi's Braids, and it's written by Antonio Hernández Madrigal, but it's illustrated by one of my favorite illustrators, the person who draws the pictures, Tommy DePaula. So this is what we're reading today. Erandi, it's time to wake up, Mama whispered. Roosters were crowing as the orange and crimson colors of dawn spread across the village of Pazucaro in the hills of Mexico. Those are beautiful colors. Erandi got out of bed. She washed her face. She put on her coupille and her skirt. Then Mama brushed her hair and she wove it into 2 thick braids that fell all the way down to her waist. When Mama finished, Erandi helped Mama prepare the dough for the tortillas. As she mixed and patted, Erandi heard voices from a loudspeaker in the street. Hair, hair, we will pay the best prices for your hair. Come to Miguel's barbershop tomorrow. What's that about, Mama? Erandi asked. It's the hair buyers from the city, Mama told her. Why do they want to buy our hair? Erandi asked. They say it is the longest and most beautiful hair in Mexico, Mama explained. They use it to make fine wigs and eyelashes and embroidery. Embroidery is sewing, or things that are sewed. Mama looked at the old cracked mirror on the adobe wall. Her own hair fell just below her shoulders, kind of like mine. Your hair is much longer and thicker than mine, Erandi. The hair buyers would pay a fortune for your beautiful braids, she said with pride. So this is Erandi, and this is Mama. Notice their braids. They sat down to eat their meals of beans and tortillas. Do you remember what day it is, Erandi? Tomorrow? Si, Mama, Erandi said. My birthday. She would be 7, and Mama was going to take her to Senora Andreas' shop to pick out a present. Erandi hoped that she would get a new dress to wear to the village fiesta. Fiesta is another word in Spanish for a party or a celebration. They finished eating and got ready to go to the lake. Mama packed their fishing net and put it on her back. Don't forget the buckets, Erandi, she called as she started off down the trail. When they arrived at the lake, women and men from the village were already fishing. Erandi's mama unfolded their net. Look, Erandi, more holes. I won't be able to repair it anymore. We need to buy a new net so badly. And then she paused. Soon we'll have the money to buy one. Erandi was surprised. They had so little money. Before she could ask Mama where she could get the money, her friend Isabel ran up to her. Buenos dias, Erandi. Can you come and play? Isabel called. Oh, go, Mama, but come back and help me sort the fish. Isabel and Erandi ran across the field of flowers. Are you going to the fiesta next Sunday? Isabel asked. The fiesta! Erandi remembered. Her birthday! And the new dress that she hoped to wear in the procession. A procession is kind of like a parade. But maybe Mama needed the money for a new net instead. I'm not sure, she said. Throughout the day, Erandi went back and forth, playing with Isabel and helping her mama separate the small fish from the large fish. And then it was time to go. Erandi was afraid to ask about her birthday, and Mama didn't say anything about the new net as they went home. But the next morning, after making tortillas, Mama said, it's time to go to Senora Andreas's shop, Erandi. Erandi smiled. She knew that she'd have a new dress for the fiesta after all. As they entered the shop in the square, Erandi saw a beautiful doll wearing a finely embroidered yellow dress. Up high on the shelf, Mama saw Erandi staring at the doll. Erandi, said Mama, what do you want for your birthday? Erandi wanted the doll, but she knew that she couldn't have both, the doll and the dress. She pointed to a yellow dress, the same color as the doll's. Maybe next year we can buy you the doll, Mama said, and she paid for the dress. Left the shop, Mama turned to Erandi and said, now we'll go to the barber shop. Erandi caught her breath. My hair. So that's how Mama is going to get the money for a new net? She's going to sell my braids? Erandi shivered at the thought of the barber cutting her braids off, but she didn't say anything to Mama. They reached Miguel's barber shop and went inside. Erandi looked across the crowded room filled with women. She gripped Mama's hand and she huddled close to her skirt. She didn't look at the barber's chair, but she couldn't help but hearing the snip, snip, snip of his scissors. Will my hair ever grow back? She worried. What do you think? The line of women moved slowly and Erandi's heart pounded as she and Mama reached the front. Next person, the barber called out, gazing at the enormous scissors in his hand. Erandi felt her knees tremble, and before she could move, her Mama walked to the chair and sat down. I should have known Mama would never sell my hair, Erandi thought as she watched the barber wrap a white apron around her mama's shoulders and measure her hair. "Your hair is not long enough," she heard the barber say. Her mama's face reddened with embarrassment. Without a word, she got out of the chair and she took Erandi's hand, and as they turned to leave, the barber said, "Wait, we'll buy your daughter's hair." Mama whirled around, meaning she spun around. "My daughter's hair is not for sale," she said proudly. And then she felt the pull of Erandi's hand, and she looked down. "See, Mama, we will sell my braids," Erandi whispered. "No, mija," Mama said. "You don't have to sell your hair." Look how protective her mother is being. But Erandi let go of her hand as she walked towards the chair, and the women stared as she climbed up onto that seat. The barber measured her braids, and he picked up his scissors, and Erandi closed her eyes, and her hands turned cold when she felt the metal scissors rub against her face and neck, and she heard the snip, snip, snip. I'm wondering how Erandi is feeling going through this. The barber moved to the second braid of Erandi's eyes. The barber moved to the second braid, and Erandi's eyes filled with tears, but she dared not cry. Instead, she asked the barber, "Will my hair grow back?" "Of course it will grow back, just as long and as pretty as before," he told her. Erandi kept her eyes shut until the barber had finished. Then she opened them slowly and looked in the mirror. Her hair reached just the bottom of her ears. So this is how short it is now, and it was this long before. I'm wondering what she's thinking. Out in the street, the air was cold on the back of her neck. How strange it felt without her hair. Mama walked beside her, not saying a word. Only the hollow clapping of their huarachas broke the silence of the cobblestone streets. Huarachas are a type of shoe. Why didn't Mama speak? Was she angry with her for cutting her hair? Or maybe the hair cutter had not paid her enough for her braids. Finally, Erandi peeked at her mama's face, and she saw that she was crying. "Forgive me, Erandi. I should not have let you sell your hair," Mama sobbed, wiping her face with an old handkerchief. Now Erandi understood that her mama was not angry with her. She'd only been thinking of Erandi's hair. "Don't worry, Mama. My braids will grow back as long and just as pretty as before." "Your hair was the longest and most beautiful of all," her mama said. Erandi paused for a moment. Then she asked shyly, "Mama, did they pay you enough for a new net?" "Oh, see, Mia! They paid us more than I expected. We can buy a new net and the doll that you wanted." She gave Erandi a big smile, and Erandi never felt happier. Then Mama took Erandi's hand in hers, and at the last days of Ray's, when the sun lit up the rooftops, they turned and went back to the square to buy Erandi's doll. And that, my friends, is the end of our story for today. So try and remember the things that we talked about noticing. What's the main character excited about? What were the problems that she encountered? And how did the problem get solved? And anything else you want to share about noticing, go for it. Till next time, see ya.